Let's ask the Republican Party's chief strategist, Sean Spicer. Sean, it's great to see you.
Good morning.
Well, I was delayed. I was thinking if you had to think if it was a good morning. Is it a good morning? Were you surprised last night? What did you think when Ted Cruz dropped out?
Well, I wasn't expecting that at all. That wasn't really my Tuesday night plan. So that kind of shook up the evening viewing that I had anticipated. But look, I think it's a great thing that we can come together, unify as a party early. That gives us a lot more time. And passions were definitely high for the different candidates that were out there in the field. We're going to need a little bit of time to unify as a party. But the quicker that we can do that and focus on the general election on Hillary Clinton, the better. It's odd that you would actually realize that we're now the party that's having that extra time to unify so we can focus. Hillary Clinton lost last night. I think that's sort of the untold story of last night, another big win for Bernie Sanders as he continues to drag her through this primary that's going to go through June. So it's going to be the Republican Party. We've been out there with a ground game second to none for years. It's going to continue to hamper their ability to prepare, which, again, is going to give us another advantage heading into the general.
You said you were surprised that was your Tuesday night last night. I was a little surprised that Chairman Reince Priebus came out with a statement essentially calling Donald Trump the presumptive nominee. And I'm a little surprised this morning to hear the calls for party unity when all along, Sean, you've been saying you don't get to 1237 unless you get to 1237. Donald Trump's not there. John Kasich's still in the race.
Read what the tweet. I mean, but the tweet was very clear. He said it will be the presumptive nominee. He is not the presumptive. He doesn't have 1237. He is not the presumptive nominee. So, but I think the math is clear. Hold on, John. Hold on. I'm just explaining that the answer is that with the number of bound delegates remaining, the contests that have to occur, there's no question that anybody who has a third-grade math will realize that he'll get to 1237. And the sooner that we can unite as a party and focus on the general election, the better. Time is of the essence, and I think that what we want to do is make sure that we go into Cleveland united as a party, we come out focused so that we can grow our party, add more to the ranks, and win in November.
Yeah, but you know who's listening very closely. Not only us do we listen very closely to your words and read your tweets very closely, and Reince's tweets very closely, Sean Spicer, but also John Kasich's team. They're listening very closely to everything you guys say. What should they take from your words? Will be the presumptive nominee. So are you saying that John Kasich should drop out?
Well, I think you've heard me say this throughout this campaign, that every campaign it has to make their own decisions. It's never been our position at the RNC to tell a candidate to stay in or get out of the race. That's up to them to decide what resources they have necessary.
Right, but to this point, you've also held up saying anything about a presumptive nominee.
Right, but again, it goes back to there is a trajectory, a mathematical trajectory that exists right now that there's no question that he's going to get to the 1237. I think that's very different, and it's a position that we found ourselves in the past, where if someone was there, we did this very similarly with Mitt Romney in 2012, when there was no question he was going to get the nomination. There was nothing that was going to stop him. He was the only one viable to get it, not just the total with unbound, but with bound delegates, which is where Mr. Trump is right now. Then there's no question that it makes sense as a party to start focusing on the general election as soon as possible, and that's what we're going to do.
Yeah, you know, unity seems to be a concern for the party, especially based on some of the statements we're hearing from fairly prominent members of the Republican Party. Mark Salter, who was John McCain's alter ego and speechwriter, tweeted last night. What about, let me read that tweet right now. It says, the GOP is going to nominate for president a guy who reads the National Enquirer and thinks it's on the level. I'm with her. Mark Salter saying he's going to vote for Hillary Clinton. Also, we saw a tweet from Steve Deese, a Ted Cruz supporter. Well, there goes my time as a Republican. We'll be changing our party affiliations tomorrow. Frankly, I feel relieved to do it, free even. These are guys from different ends of the party. Donald Trump lost both of them. Is that a problem for the party, Sean?
Well, like I said, I mean, we need more Republicans. We need all the Republicans we can get plus to win this election. So, of course, it's a shame. But I hope that those folks, both of them, recognize the bigger picture here. It's not just about one election. It's not just about the next 4 years. Frankly, the number of people that Hillary Clinton will appoint, not just as the Supreme Court, but could potentially appoint to all federal judgeships, Never mind the additional things, the regulatory things, the effect that you would have on the budget, the crippling effect that you would have on small businesses, religious freedom, all of the things that conservatives should really care about. They should take a look at the big picture and say, this may not have been my choice of a candidate, maybe not even my second choice, but we as conservatives need to understand the big picture. And the big picture is that Hillary Clinton will take this country in a vastly different direction than any of us would want to go. And so I think we do need to unite. We've had 17 amazing candidates at the top levels of this primary fight on the Republican side. And everybody was very passionate about the individual candidate they supported. I understand that. That's great. That's what's driven the increased turnout. But at some point, you have to recognize the bigger picture and say, my individual candidate lost, but I'm going to come together for the greater good because the opposite side's alternative is so vastly wrong. You've got a candidate, Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders. I don't know which one's going to win. The front runner is clearly Hillary Clinton, but she's got the potential indictment of the FBI looming over her. Bernie Sanders wants to take this country in a socialist direction. I think anybody who, I understand that tensions are high right now. They're upset that their individual dropped out their candidate may have dropped out last night. But we need to focus on making sure that we unite as a party and recognize the two options that we have. And one is vastly unacceptable, and one is where we need to come together as Republicans and say this is going to take our country in a much better direction.
You had a hard job, everyone said, during the primary. It looks like you've got hard work ahead of you still, Sean. Great to see you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I think he said I had a third-grade understanding of math.
He trashed
which
your
was
math.
generous.
But by
which
the way,
was generous.
with his eyes, he said, but Kate did AP Calculus.
Exactly.